where he's running for Congress. It's 7:36, by the way, at AM 840 The Patriot. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West joins us right now. Good morning, Lieutenant Colonel. How are you?
Good morning, Rob, and good morning to everyone out there in the Valley of California, and it's great to hear from you.
I'm so glad that you could join us again this morning. We did a live national broadcast with the Roger Hedgecock Show from here in Modesto last Friday. And one of the guys that he talked about was you. In fact, he said he's going to take his show to Florida to do a national radio broadcast in support of your candidacy there.
Well,
Has he been in touch with you about that yet?
No, he has not.
So we're breaking the news to you.
It's looking like a good surprise.
Well, I'll tell you what, Roger is wholeheartedly behind your campaign, and just as we have said here many, many times, you're the kind of person we need to find to serve in Congress. And it's just a pleasure to be able to talk to you, and because just hearing your views and the way that you think and feel about America's past, present, and future is encouraging to all of us. Now, again, we keep this California immigration law, this Arizona immigration law is still one of the biggest stories in the news today. And you make a very good point. One of the things that I really appreciate about your delivery and about the message you spread is your grasp of history and how we today need to be looking more back in the events of history to see where we are today and where we're going if we don't change course.
Well, you're absolutely right. And, the quote, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it, always it just comes to mind. Because you can look back through time and you can see so many trends that are parallel to what is happening in the United States of America right now. And the reason why I brought up in that speech, Rome was a great republic, and we are a constitutional republic. And the basic premise of being a republic is the rule of law. So when people say that, stand up and speak of illegal, being the operative word, illegal immigrants having rights and privileges, that will lead to the demise of this constitutional republic called the United States of America, just the same as it did for Rome. And I'm not trying to compare America to say this an empire, but it's the principles of governance that we have to look at. And you go to our Constitution, Rob, it says in Article 1, Section 8, and also Article 4, Section 4, it talks about the federal government has a responsibility to repel invasions, and it's supposed to protect our states from invasions. So people coming across your border that are not citizens, that's an invasion. And we need to have, if the federal government doesn't want to step up, then under the 10th Amendment, Governor Brewer and any other governor has the right to protect their citizens.
We haven't talked to you since the nomination of Elena Kagan to the Supreme Court of the United States. What do you think about this?
Well, I'm very disturbed about Elena Kagan being nominated, and the thing that I look at is you have Justice Stevens stepping down, and Justice Stevens is the only combat veteran serving on the Supreme Court. And who are we going to replace him with? I think we're replacing him with someone that has absolute anti-military sentiments. Her amicus brief on the Solomon Amendment that challenged the military, the administration's don't ask, don't tell policy, and repelling the ROTC programs. Why didn't she go after the Clinton administration, or why didn't she go after Congress instead going after the military? So one of the things I look at right now, we have some very serious cases, I think, that's going to come before the Supreme Court, such as, do illegal enemy combatants deserve constitutional rights? And if we have someone that has this predisposed conviction against the military and against, what this country stands for in defending our Constitution, then I have concerns about her sitting on the Supreme Court.
We found out here, we've been doing a lot of study on Elena Kagan, and when she was the dean of Harvard Law School, she completely changed the rules that were in place for more than 100 years as to how to teach law at Harvard Law School, which is the premier legal training and teaching institution in our nation.
Yes.
And she, instead of teaching what's called case law, she decided that it was best to teach students not from reading the actual laws and the wording of the laws that are in place and the arguments for and against them, but instead to read the writings of the interpretations of those laws by certain scholars. In other words, it's more important what some academic says about a law than it is to actually read the letter of the law, which seems to go along hand in hand with the way Congress feels about the laws that they're voting for now. They don't really have to read them to want to be for them or against them.
Well, there are two things that you kind of brought out, and number one is this concerned about activist judges who are not there to uphold the law and interpret the law for cases, but, want to lend themselves to their own feelings, beliefs, sentiments, and as President Obama said, their own empathy with whatever situation is. And then the other thing that you have to really be concerned about is, as you say, this is Harvard Law School, a preeminent law school, and she is once again changing the means by which we're supposed to be instructed. So is that going to be the type of perspective that is going to be brought to the Supreme Court? And that is not so much about the law, but what do academia, what do they say about the law? And, I really get concerned with this ruling class elitism, which has infiltrated the political system in America. And I think that's what the Tea Party movement, that's what is happening in America, is people are starting to reject this idea of folks knowing what is better for us than anyone else. And one of the things I love, Rob, is how many people are now going out and reading the Constitution, reading the Federalist Papers, reading the thoughts of our founding fathers, so that no longer we can have people that are leading us down the primrose path so that we end up like Greece.
Yeah, for the first time in my memory, the most requested document from the government's public presses, is the Constitution. More and more people are demanding to read the Constitution than ever in my memory.
Oh, yeah. These pocket-sized constitutions are everywhere.
Yeah, let's switch gears for just a couple of minutes because I want to go back to MSNBC and a program that you were on, I don't know, when was it? On the 6th or the 7th of last month.
Yeah.
And let me just play some audio here in asking you a question about the Tea Parties.
Party has raised concerns that it may have, racism built within it. We have seen some racist signs at past events. People have said that is not a part of the Tea Party movement, but are African-American candidates aligning themselves with the Tea Party?
The principles and values that I espouse, limited government, lower taxes, individual responsibility and accountability, liberty, and honoring the traditions of our constitutional republic are connecting me with those grassroots Americans that attend Tea Party rallies. And I've spoken at 4 to 5 of those rallies, and I've not seen any racist type of signs.
Lieutenant Colonel West, are you getting tired of being asked questions about racism in the Tea Party?
Well, absolutely. But see, that's the thing that the liberal left has to fall back on. I think that there was just some study or some poll that was done out of Seattle, the Seattle Times, I believe, that talked about racism being within the Tea Party. I know that Chris Matthews on MSNBC is going to have this unveiling this program about the new right. They are absolutely terrified of the American people. They're absolutely terrified about voices standing up. And this thing about using race is now worthless because you cannot use that as a means by which you try to suppress people's voices. And it doesn't mean anything. When you have Bill Maher, who gets on his show and talks about how he thought that having a real black president means that he would walk around carrying a gun in the Oval Office and threatening people, if they don't want to call that racism, if what Harry Reid said about having a light-skinned president that doesn't use Negro dialect, if they don't want to call that racist, then there's just a duplicitous hypocrisy out there that I'm absolutely sick of.
Well, Lieutenant Colonel, again, I thank you for your time this morning. It's always fun talking to you. We can't wait to see what happens in this upcoming primary now, just a week and a half away. How do you feel about it?
Well, out there in California, it's going to be very interesting to see because you got some incredible races in the senatorial race and also the gubernatorial race. And I think this is an opportunity for the people of California to decide, do they want to be like Greece, a mini Greece, because that's where you're headed. Do you want people that will stand up, as Governor Brewer did, and get back to principle and the things that will make the state of California economically viable and secure?
The website is Allen West for Congress. Allen is spelled A-L.